some contents in an audit file. Then we'll look at the custody of an audit file and the ownership of an audit file. I'm going to, after now, summarize audit documentation and audit planning. So, a copy of accounts being audited should be in an audit file. So, which audit file should it belong to? I'm going to mention some series of contents that should be in an audit file and ask you the same question before we move on. So, accounts being audited, indexes should be in the, or index should be in an audit file. And when we are talking about index, it's a series of alphabets that we use in an audit firm to depict what section of an audit that documentation represents. So basically, index varies from one audit firm to another. Then also description of internal control system that we've observed should be in an audit file. We should put the internal control questionnaire, flowchart or flowcharting that we've made, written description together with supervision of the documents and the like, who supervised it, who wrote it, should be in an audit file. We should cross-reference. Cross-referencing should be in an audit file. What is cross-referencing? That is, for example, you are dealing with capital now. In the section of the capital, then you make a reference to who actually dropped the money. So you cross-reference it to the summary of the capital injection that we currently have in the audit file. So basically, that's cross-reference, and it should be in an audit file so that anybody reviewing it can easily understand what we've done on the field. Of course, letter of weakness too should be in an audit file. That is a letter from host auditor to our client telling them the internal control weaknesses observed. We call it letter of weakness. We call it another name, so put it in the comments. Another thing that should be in an audit file is schedule for each item. Schedule for each item. Items in the balance sheet, which we now call statement of position. Also, items in the profit or loss, and other correspond comprehensive income. Those items should be in the working file, or I almost tell you, but I won't tell you. I want you to tell me what it should be. Which file are we talking about now? So items for each statement, items in the statement of position. We will be talking about the accruals, creditors, payables, breakdown, and the like. They should be in audit file. Also, letter of representation. What is a letter of representation? Simply put, is the letter that the management wrote to us supporting one thing or the other, their view about what they know, about what we asked them, or what they need to tell us. Basically, that's letter of representation. It should be in an audit file. Last but not the least on this segment I'm going to mention is letter to the client, setting out internal control weaknesses. I'd earlier mentioned it, letter of weakness, but it could equally be called management control letter. Please don't forget. So all these items that should be in an audit file, which file should it be? I asked you in the first place when we started, and just let us know current items in the current year audit file. Those are items in the current year's audit file. So now we move on to those ones, and if we are looking at that diagram, that the bar chart, we can use that as the green or the blue or the red, whatever. But it's important that we have current year audit file. Now, what are the items that should be in the permanent file. We will be talking about the statutory material concerning governance, concerning the legal entity, concerning the enterprise and the like. If they were listed, if our clients are listed organization, we need to put stock exchange regulation and the like, company code in the permanent audit file. If they are not, those that relates to incorporation, CAMA, we need to put them in the audit file, which is a permanent audit file. Rules and regulation concerning their industry. Now we are not talking about the generic. The first one I mentioned was for the generic. This one now is specific concerning the industry they were in. Then we need to have copies of documents of continued importance and relevant to the auditor and to the audits. So it should be in the permanent audit file. Also, letter of our engagement, minutes of our appointment should be in permanent audit file. Also, if they have trademark, if they have license, if they have patents and the like, all these items should be in the permanent audit file. Debenture deed, if they have, it should be in audit file. Preference share and the like, redeemable, non-redeemable and the like, convertible, we should put them in the, that's means and sources of finance, should be in permanent year audit file. Leases, especially finance leases. Don't forget we have two types of leases, operating lease and finance lease, especially in this time that the lease IFRS new IAS has been released concerning it. So we should have leases in our permanent audit file. Also, addresses of the registered office and also locations or branches that our clients have nationwide or region-wide or worldwide should be in our permanent audit file. And as they continue to open branches, we must put them in permanent audit file. Also, organizational charts, flow charts, instruction charts should be in the permanent audit file. Also, lists of books and other records and where they are kept should be in permanent year audit file. The designation, names and signatures of responsible officer, all these are critical to be in permanent year audit file. Also, an outline of history of the organization. Is good that organization have their history recorded, and we as auditor should have the history of the organization, especially as it relates to share capital, as it relates to general reserve, capital reserve, prospectuses, if they have. I want to believe we know what prospectus is. If we need to elaborate on it, please put it in the comments. It's a different topic entirely. Also, record of important ratios should be in permanent year audit file. Lists of accounting matters of importance like accounting policies should be in permanent year audit file. You know that accounting policies do not change. To change it, we need to do some series of regulatory compliances and checks before an organization can change accounting policy. So it has a permanent nature and should be in the permanent audit file rather. Also, note of interviews, first audit meetings, internal control matters, past management letters, they should be in permanent audit file. If they have accounting instructions, accounting manners, internal audit, all those documents, internal audit charter should be in permanent audit file. List of companies director and their shareholding, their service contract should be in permanent year audit file. I hope I'm not moving too fast, especially for those that are just joining us. My name is Gbenga Olatunji, FCA from GJAMES Associates. Don't forget to like, to comment, to share, and click all for the notification so that henceforth you will be receiving updates when we upload. Continue as we are rounding up. Also, list of companies' properties, list of investments where they have investments, interests, and the like, and our note for verification or verifying them should be in permanent year audit file. Also, a list of companies' bankers, financiers, brokers, solicitors, valuers, insurance brokers, even it is good. It's part of what I'm just talking about. Even our name as their auditor should be enlisted and put in permanent year audit file. So basically, we've touched on three critical aspects of audit firms operations. We had looked at basically audit file, the permanent audit file. We had looked at current year audit file and the custody of an audit file and the ownership of an audit file. Next, join us as we are going to be looking at the summary of audit documentation. So everything that we've been doing in this series, we are going to summarize it in a video. Then we'll move on to audit evidence. From GJAMES Associates, Gbenga Olatunji FCA, we are value to life. We are value to your business.